Hey, Lakeland, how you doing? Mr. Rolando here, and I've got a friend today. This is Samantha Pellet. She's a 2011 Lakeland High School grad, currently assistant director at the JCC Day Camps in West Bloomfield. Sam, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm good.
Good, excellent, cool.
Yeah.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you. Thanks
having
for coming
me.
on.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Appreciate. Yeah, it's kind of fun. We're just having some fun. You know what I mean? Doing some vlogs, talking about leadership stuff and types of stuff like that. You were in Lakeland leadership a bit ago.
Yes. Yeah, I bet.
A bit
Just a
ago.
few
It's all
years.
good. We won't say how long. I did say where
Right.
you graduated, so I guess that kind of
Right. They do know, right. They don't know when I was in leadership, but they at least know when I left.
right. That's the thing. Yeah, that's true. Good point. Good point. So we're talking about authentic leadership today. Yes.
Awesome. Yes.
Cool. Excellent. So I was doing a little look up on some research on
Hmm.
the authentic leadership. And it talks about how it's an approach that leaders builds leaders' legitimacy through the building of relationships and just their impacts on like ethical foundations and things like that. What are your thoughts on
Hmm.
some of that? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah. So I did the same thing. My minor in college was actually in higher education. So we did a lot of extending from what we learned in high school in leadership class, which was
Nice.
awesome. It's nice going in with that knowledge, but I brushed up on it a little bit. And I think that what originally came to my mind when we were talking about doing this topic today, was the sense of the building relationships, and kind of being transparent in what you're doing as a leader,
Right.
and kind of like your thoughts or like what you're going through in addition to what the people you're leading are going through, or other people in an organization or a group, or an extracurricular activity, or like an RSO if you're in college, which I think is super important. And I'm very lucky to be able to use that in the job I have now, and have a lot of my coworkers and people that I work with believe in that authentic leadership, believe in that transparency, and encourage you to build those relationships with people in your organization and outside of your organization.
Yeah, I think the whole relationship piece is huge. It's
Hmm.
key all the way around. I mean, we talk about it in public ed a lot in the ability of being able to build solid relationships with your students and solid relationships in your community. And the idea
Right.
of like, I think you said something about being able to just kind of talk about who you are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Talk about yourself. That honesty piece behind
Hmm.
it just keeps it real. You know,
Right.
in that piece, and I think that that's huge because as a leader, I think that the idea of being real and open and honest is super important.
Yes.
Like, is if you don't, I mean, if you're not being out there and you got to kind of put yourself out there, step one,
Yep.
and
Yep.
if you're not being open and honest, people don't believe you. And if people don't
Hmm.
believe you, people won't follow you,
Right.
and they don't think you're legit,
Right.
in the end, which I think is important because you're trying to talk about good things. You're trying to get people, to help you out with stuff or to help a group or organization, like you said, an RSO at college or
Yeah.
even a student leadership class in school or,
Hmm.
clubs or programs or whatever like that. And the idea is if you're not honest, they're not going to be honest with you. And then they're not going to follow you because they don't believe you,
Right.
that whole piece there.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
definitely. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you know or what you have to say, because if people don't believe in you or don't feel like you're going to be genuine, then your knowledge and what you want to portray to them is not going to come through in a way that it would if they had that relationship with you, if they knew what your values were or what you were, really about.
right.
And I think part of the biggest the biggest thing that I think people miss is, it's not just relationships with people that you're leading, but also people that are leading with you. So, like, for example, we have counselors over the summer. So at our day
Right.
camp, we have it's 18 and over is what we hire. So they're
Okay.
all college age kids. And it's very important to build relationships with those campers, build relationships with the kids that are there for the summer, because for them, that's, they're home away from home, and it's different and it's new and they're trying to learn. But it's more important, really, in my opinion, to build those relationships with other counselors, because they're really your support system and they're the ones
Right.
that are going to like help you lead as well. So if you you know, if they know your values and you know their values, and you guys build that relationship all around for everyone, the customer, which is the campers, or, you know, each other, it builds more of a larger community with kind of all of those connections, which makes it really special and really makes people want to come back to groups, wants people to come back to RSOs, to leadership, you know,
Right.
to other things that they're doing, whether it's in school or outside of school. Building those relationships in that community is really a huge thing, and that's why groups are so successful in what they do, because
Agreed.
that's kind of the root of where they start.
Yeah, that whole I love what you talked about, that whole like leader to leader piece, which I think is cool, is key too, because it takes more than one person. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of times, and it takes a village, to quote, you know, whoever. But the concept there of the idea of it takes, especially in a situation like you're in, like you said, you're in a day camp, and how old are kids that come to the day camp?
We have kindergarten all the way up through graduating high school, and then our special needs program actually goes all the way up to 26.
Okay.
So we have a large range of ages.
Right. So, I mean, you're not doing that by yourself. Like,
right.
You know, like, to run projects and groups and coordinate events and stuff, you got to be able to be on the same page with your other leaders, like you said, with your other, you know, with the other counselors and stuff. And it's the same deal in like you said, like in an RSO or a sorority or a fraternity or a student leadership class. Like, your committee, your group has to be on the same page with the other people who are in charge of your committee and your group. So you all know where you're going. You all know you're in the same direction, because you know, yes, making decisions on the fly is important. Understanding how to do that is key. Look at the current situation we're in. You know what I mean? But the idea of planning that out and being there with your other leaders who can help you put together a quality program, because that's what you're trying to do. You know, overall, in the end, that somebody's going to get something out of, that's going to be worthwhile to, like you said, your customer or the kid or the student in my class or whoever else is important.
Yeah. Everybody has a customer, even if it's not in a transactional way. It's like it's still a transaction. You're both getting something out of it, even if it's
it doesn't have to be monetary.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the idea of a transaction of information or a transaction of knowledge even is an idea of customer service and how that stuff relates into, you know, just leadership skills and stuff too, in that sense. So cool.
Yeah. The other thought that I had was I was thinking, because when I was reading the qualities of authentic leadership, I was thinking, okay, I feel like I'm pretty self-aware, and so I feel like I do a pretty good job of that in you know, the job that I have now. But it was interesting to look back at the jobs that I've had, I guess, in the past, and leadership roles that I've had in the past. And for the most part, I have really only ever been a leader or supervised a group that was either my peers or younger than me, which was very interesting.
Okay.
And it was interesting to kind of think of the qualities that authentic leadership has and how that kind of plays into that peer-to-peer leadership. Because I think for me, in college, I worked at the gym at Central, and so everyone was my age, which is an interesting dynamic, and I'm sure that any college student or high school student who is in the same boat can understand that and appreciate that, because it's weird to supervise people that you also hang out with, which is strange.
Yes.
But I think that it's important. Those qualities of authentic leadership are important when you're a peer-to-peer leader or a peer-to-peer supervisor, just because you being in that understanding, we're in the same boat here. We're the same age. You know, we both have college work to do. We both have things we want to do outside of this, you know, but it's a different relationship. And I guess starting back where you are is becoming self-aware, I guess, learning knowing who you are, knowing the things that you value, knowing the way that you want to lead, and knowing those qualities that you want to have is really a good place to start.
Well, and I play that into, always talk about knowing your why. You know, I play that in with the Simon Sinek stuff, and that's exactly what that is in reality. And it's being, like you said, it's being self-aware of why are you going to do this? What part of you makes you want to do this? You know what I mean? What's your purpose? Where are you going with that whole, you know, the idea and the concept? And the peer-to-peer stuff is great because like I look at you talk about your situation. I'm gonna look at my situation. You know, I teach a group of 33 of the best kids, in my opinion, at the school, and that's a peer-to-peer relationship right there. There are people who are in leadership roles over people who they sit next to in second hour, like you know, in a different group. So the idea there of being able to be self-aware, knowing what kind of leader you want to be, what kind of leader you are, what kind of person you are, is a great skill for my high school kids to start developing. Because then as they get older and as they get into more positions of where they may be in a business model or a business setting where they're in charge of said group project or whatever, you know what I mean? And they have to deal with people their age, maybe even people older than them, and doing the same type of deal, you know. You shouldn't have to sacrifice yourself just for the group. I think that's key. It's just you shouldn't sacrifice yourself for the group. But the idea there of understanding who you are, and then even in a peer-to-peer piece, being able to lead your peers who, you know, you're in one situation, you're this, and the next situation, you're this. You know, it's tough. It's hard. It's hard for high school kids. I get it too. I think that's a good piece to focus on for them to bring, you know, them to bring together. So
it definitely is, and it's an interesting dynamic, but it's that why, and it's the things that you always told us that in leadership, you know, like you're making your mark, and in what way do you want to do that? Like why are you here? And it's going to change. It's not always going to be the same. And you know, sometimes you need to take a step back and really realize that your mark might not necessarily be that you're, you know, starting a group or starting a program or, you know, creating a nonprofit or something that's really huge and out there. But, you know, it's making those relationships, or, you know, it's connecting with someone, or really even mentoring someone, which I think is also a huge thing, and stems from high school all the way, you know, through the rest of your life. Which, you know, is an awesome way to make your mark. And it's remembering that those little things really can also be your why. They don't have to be, you know, huge, big things.
You know, your why doesn't have to be involving changing the world. Your why your why can be changing your own little world. You know, if you want to think about it in that sense, or your own piece of how you put all that together. How can you affect the committee you're on, or how can you affect the small little sphere of influence that you have, you know, how can you do that types of stuff? So
and it's hard, especially in a time like now. It's everybody wants to do their part, and you know, I would love to go out and volunteer, but unfortunately I am in a category of high risk people. So I can't, you know, go out and deliver food and, you know, help people in the way that I wish that I could. But it's those things, of those smaller things that you can do, you know, posting something funny on Facebook, or joining Mr. Rolando in a leadership Zoom, which is fun.
That's right.
Not everyone can do that, but
that's right.
It's those little things that, you know, especially in a time like this, that really make a difference, whether it's, like you said, in your own world or in other people's world.
Right. I agree. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I hope you had fun.
I did. I enjoyed myself. I was a little bit nervous going into it. I don't know why.
It's okay. It's only going to go, you know, on the internet for the world and the public.
Yeah, right.
So it's okay.
I try to pick a good, like, background. I'm like, what should I wear? I don't know.
It's like, it's all good. You look great. Everything's great.
Thank you.
You look good.
That's you.
Right. You're welcome. So, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool. And a little plug for JCC. Any plug for day camp? You need people?
Well, we still have registration for day camp. So summer is still on right now. So if you have any questions, let me know.
There you go. Sounds good. And if you want to get a job there, are you hiring?
Yes, we are hiring counselors 18 and over. We have our jobs on our website. We're looking for some specialists, some counselors. My youngest sister, Alyssa, she actually has worked at camp. She worked last summer, and she's coming back this summer. So if you know her, you can ask her too.
Nice.
We'd love to have you.
Sounds good. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Rolando.
Okay, bye. We'll see you.
Bye.